Jason Heen. I'm in the Denver chapter of the Cadillac Kings, and I am the president of this chapter, and I also do the newsletter for the club. 18 months ago, I petitioned for the chapter, and we've been up and running for that long. It was probably more like 21 months ago I petitioned because we have a 3-month probationary period. So we've been in 18 months now, and it's been great ever since. My chapter means everything to me. I, for a long, long time, have tried to get into this car club, and you know the Kings. It's very, very difficult to break through and to actually petition, be successful petitioning, and then to be rewarded with a chapter. That's huge to me. And my VP's been one of my friends. In fact, I bought my 63. Well, my wife bought my 63 coupe from my VP. And our other secretary treasurer, he's been around. We've been friends for like 25 years. He's got his grandfather's sedan DeVille. And I just picked up, we've got a petitioner running right now. He's about to get his full color back window sticker. And I've got a new petitioner starting in the next couple weeks. So our chapter's growing. It's if they say, if you build it, they will come. We have a great time in our chapter. We are very family oriented. And we do a lot of stuff together. If it's not every weekend, it's every other weekend that we're getting together, at least 2 of us doing something, whether it's working on one of our cars, building a car, or just having a few beers together. Favorite story from our chapter so far is when we got our full color back window stickers, and we all came over to my garage bar, and we cracked beers, and we all put our back window stickers on together. Oh boy. My dream would be a gloss black with oxblood red interior with like a maroon top, 50 Coupe de Ville. Cadillac sales, there's a light blue top with actually might be a light blue bottom, dark blue top just came up, 54. And I'm super tempted to jump on that one. But it seems like every time I drive my 65 Coupe, everybody loves that car. And so everything, it runs so nice. And then every time I drive it, it's like everybody knows that this is the Denver chapter president's car. So it's like every time I drive it, I don't ever want to get rid of it. But I really want a 50s coupe. I really do. Second week my wife and I were married, I bought a 54 Dodge sedan on an S10 frame. And it had a small block Pontiac motor in it. And it was loud and nasty. She got so mad at me, she moved out for like 2 days because I was so used to buying everything I wanted and not having to check in with anybody. We got married, and she's like, no, this is not how this works. So I really have to run everything through her before I buy anything else now. I'm pretty strapped with how much room I have. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she gives me all the support that I need. In fact, it's not only that. We have, between the 5 of us, Ryan out of Alberta, Wes, Eric out of LA, Tim, myself, we have text messages, all hours of the day, all day long, going on our group chat. So those are probably the 4 guys that I'm the closest with in the club. Only because we talk, if not every hour, always group text or something going on, or something that we're trying to figure out, or something that isn't working, or we heard somebody wants to start a chapter and that kind of stuff. No way. No, I hope they never make us do that. That would be horrible. No, in fact, I just redid the carburetor in my 65, and it is so rich. Every time I fire it up, it trips my carbon monoxide detector in my shop. So I don't ever want to convert either of them. They are, I'll tell you, my 65 is a really, really, really nice car. It runs really smooth, drives really great. My 63 is a little more of a rat rod. It's kind of a tin can. It's slammed really low. It's got super loud exhaust. It drags everywhere it goes. Both my cars are set up on static suspension. I don't do anything on airbags. I had a couple airbag cars before, and for me, they were nothing but a headache. And I just love to get in them, fire them up, and just drive them. So both my cars are just statically drop cars. And so I got one that's really, really nice to drive, but one that's super ratty and nasty to drive around in. I got such a great group of guys here in Denver. And like I said, we've all been friends for so long that we just left the politics out of it and just really focused on not even so much at that time. We were a fairly new car club. We got our chapter right when COVID hit. So for us, it was more about just continuing that relationship, continuing to hang out, continuing to do stuff. I mean, there were times that I remember we had to make reservations in order to get together and do stuff, which wasn't hard. It was just harder than I call the guys up and the next day we're having breakfast, or the next day we're going for a cruise, or the next day we're able to hang out. We had to set stuff up in order to make our times match and our get-togethers, to work. Which I think is why I built my garage bar and my VP has his garage bar set up. It gave us an extra place to two extra places really to, instead of going out and going someplace and then all the mandates and the masks and the social distancing and all that. We left the politics totally out to the side. We just got together, continued to do what we do even before we had our chapter. And that was just hang out, drink beer, community, fellowship, spend time together, maintain those relationships. And then also, we would, that's why I can fill my driveway up full of cars and Cadillacs. And we've had Cadillacs lined up out in front of my house before. So we just continue to do what we always did. We just had to make a few exceptions. I could have been stressful if I made it stressful, but luckily I didn't. I mean, I do what I always do, and that's go to work. And sure, I had to check my temperature before I went to work before, and then I had to wear a mask when I was at work, and when we'd go out, we'd have to wear our masks and do stuff. So it didn't. It really wasn't a huge change for me. What was actually kind of a nice change was some of the Zoom meetings that I was able to do and not have to be pulled in 10 different ways. Not only am I a professional firefighter, but I also serve on our union board. So, I have members from that side calling me all the time. I have, a leadership role in our car club. I have a leadership role in my chapter. It just seems like something I've always done for my whole life. And you'll hear other firefighters say it too, always put the organization to the chaos. And I feel like that whether it's formal leadership, informal leadership, I just happen to be blessed with the ability to put a lot of organization to chaos. So we just kept doing what we were always doing. We just, still got on the rig, still ran calls. We still got together. We just had to wear our masks and make appointments. And so it didn't really affect me all that much. It affected more my wife and my kids because the kids couldn't go to school. The kids couldn't see their friends. My friends were still coming over. We've never really sheltered our kids from adult life. So my kids get along with everybody, and being firefighter kids, they tend to just roll with the punches anyway. So it was like business like normal. I mean, when we'd have people over, we'd set up chairs in the backyard and we were just socially distanced, and it sucked. And it was, you're right, it was a dog shit year, and we're starting to come out of it, but we're also feeling like we're being pulled back into it a little bit with the new variant. And we'll just keep doing what we always do. We'll still get together. We'll still drink beers. We'll still wear our masks. I'll still show up to work. I'll still, do what I do, save lives and put out fires. And at the end of the day, hopefully it all shakes out and it works out in the end. 100%. That life, it's tough because that life I take very serious. Being a chapter president, I take very serious, and being the newsletter, publisher and editor, I take very serious too. The problem is I would say 75% of our club, it's a hobby, right? But for me, it's something that I'm very passionate about and something that I take very serious. We held it together really well as a whole club. Every single one of us comes from a different background, different household life, different raising, and each of us have our own political views. And the political views are it's a passionate, very passionate subject. I saw quite a few members post stuff on their private page, but not so much on the members only page. We did really well at policing ourselves on the members only page, which is good because we're all about family and we're all community and we're all about accepting each other from wherever we come from, and that's I deal with that at work, and so it was a good fit for me coming in as a new chapter president with a new chapter into this big body. The only thing we haven't been able to do yet, and it worked really, really hard at establishing our chapter on the map and reaching out to a lot of different chapters and really getting to know a lot of different guys and really wanting to get involved. I always wanted more when I first got into the club. Like, hey, this is great. I just got my new chapter, but there's more for me. I want to do more. I want to be on committee. I have aspirations to be part of the committee. I took over the newsletter when there was a need for that. So I think that's just me, and I'll just keep doing who I am. But I'm glad to be part of the family, and I'm glad we're able to police ourselves fairly well in that weird political world that we lived in the last year. Uh, I've been bugging Tim for a long time, but I wanted more. I knew there was more for me. I really had aspirations. I still do have huge aspirations to be on the committee at some point. And so I've been bugging Tim. Hey, if there's ever an opportunity for me to help with this, let me know. If there's ever something I can do to help you, let me know. And I used a lot of my political union background that I have. And Tim reached out and he said, "Hey, I've got an idea. I've got something I'm working on. I need some help with the newsletter." And I said, "Man, that'd be great for me. I would love to do that. I'd love to be a part of that." Put my first newsletter out in December of last year. I'm getting ready to put another one out here coming up in the next couple of weeks or so. And so it just seemed to be a good fit for me. I wanted more. This was a great opportunity for me to get into an elected position and a good way for me to help the club outside of managing my own chapter and my personal life and my family and my chapter. It doesn't get out, right? It goes to the chapter heads. There's 3 chapter heads for every chapter. It doesn't get out. Not everybody sees it. Then Wes hears through the rumor mill that the information's not getting out. There's really 2 ways to go about that, and one of the ways that Wes and I are kind of trying to work through it is to, for me personally, I've reached out to a couple chapter heads and just send me your roster, send me a roster of your current members, and then potentially a mailer could come of this. But for me, bigger picture of the newsletter, I want to see a club directory. I want to see a club directory where anybody can get on there and thumb through and reach anybody that they want on phone, via email. Just have a good contact base for everybody that's in the club. I feel like that would be really beneficial. It's also going to be really hard to maintain, but it's not something that I don't have time for. So I threw my hat in the ring to do that. I'm working on that directory. We're trying to get a good basis of all the members. And then eventually that could maybe lead out to a mass email. Never works because so many members change their email. Some members are in and out of the club all the time. It's difficult. I think a mailer would be the way to go for everybody to get the communication. But you're exactly right. I love the newsletter. I just don't feel like, sometimes I feel like it reaches the chapter heads, but it's not forwarded on to the rest of the membership. I would love to go back to it. I'm more of a, you probably heard the other day when we were on the phone. I'll do text every once in a while, but I'm much more of a face-to-face, Zoom, FaceTime. Ryan from the Alberta chapter and I FaceTime at least once a week, if not twice a week. And he's probably the guy I'm the most close with in the club. Him and I think a lot alike. We're exactly the same. We're wired totally the same. He's in emergency response. I'm in emergency response. So him and I are 2 peas in a pod. And, I'm much more of a phone call, face-to-face, Zoom, FaceTime kind of guy. Emails and texts, I'll do, but it's just not personable. I like that personal connection with people. That's just the old school traditional part of me, I think. Yeah, our wheelhouse is 100% a group of informal leaders in the club that try to address small things that come up before it has to go to committee. We try to handle small issues to either keep them from going to committee or try to handle them at our level. It's think of it like a peer thing. We try to handle it amongst ourselves. That's what our wheelhouse is. And then if it has to go outside of our wheelhouse, then we take it to the big stuff goes to committee. The whole wheelhouse idea started with Wes and Tim, and I think it kind of grew from there. When I first came on, I had started a thing where I think I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw it was Eric's birthday. And so I instantly text Eric. I got on our group chat. Tim added me to that group chat, and that group chat was the whole reason I set that up was so that we could do a birthday shot and talk to each other for our birthdays and drink a birthday beer together or whatever. And then as soon as I had that did that birthday shot with Eric, um, I text the other guys. I'm like, hey man, I encourage you guys to at some point today, because we didn't our time frames all didn't line up together. At some point today, call Eric, wish him a happy birthday, because I left him off that section of the chat. And I said, just call him, wish him a happy birthday, and do a shot with him. And I think, that relationship just blossomed from there. And it seemed like, with my union leadership and like I said, my ability to put organization to chaos and level head that I have, and looking at things from a very diplomatic perspective, it just seemed to be a good fit. And back then it was just us five. We didn't call it the wheelhouse back then. It was just us five, and and that's part of the group text, and it has evolved into this. We try to take care of small issues to keep them off a committee's plate, and that's the sole purpose of what the wheelhouse does. The committee is the president, and the wheelhouse is formed with a group of like-minded individuals that are all leaders within this club that are passionate about this. And we're the chief of staff. You could call us that for the most part. Some people call it control, but if we lose that, then we lose who we are as a car club. And I don't want to change anything that we do as a car club, right? I don't want to all of a sudden put a different back window sticker in my window because I'm from the Denver chapter. That's not how it works for me. But I'm also from a different, raised different, and from that fire service where we don't change stuff like that, right? Our logos don't change. Our logos on our cars don't change. So at some point, I feel like we could get Walmart big, and I don't want to be Walmart big, but I also there's biker clubs that are huge, right? And they haven't lost control. So I think it also falls upon, our chapter heads and our leadership in the club to hold, I am my brother's keeper. We hold each other accountable to make sure we're making good decisions. We're being leaders in our community. We're being leaders in the club. And that none of that those core values of who we are, those don't change, and then everything else seems to fall in place. Our club uniform, how we logo our cars, all that stuff. And when we get a chapter that gets out of line, there's a phone call or a message or FaceTime. We keep each other accountable for stuff like that. So are we big enough right now? I mean, I think we're plenty big right now with the issues that we have and some of the stuff that we deal with. Um, I don't want to feel like we start handing out chapters. I want chapter heads to earn their chapter, and then I want them to take a little bit of ownership in it, and I want them to respect Wes and the founders of this club from 16 years ago that have set this up. That's just me. Our core values. What I think that's why the Wheelhouse is such a great group, because we all think the same. I mean, we're all passionate about certain issues, um, but we can. The cool thing about it is in that venue we can argue with each other. We can not agree. We can leave there not agreeing. But when those doors and we step back out into the public eye, whether it's back into my chapter or back into the members only club page, at the end of the day, we leave there united, and we always leave there supporting each other. And I might not still agree with that, but we leave there united, and that's the one thing that I think makes the wheelhouse somewhat unique, is in the sense that we like brothers. We go in there, we battle it out, but when the doors open and we walk out of there, we're all united. to keep it in order, to keep it in check, and to keep it how it was originally set up, and to leave it better than what we found it.
Awesome.
That's always been one of my big things, and that's been my 23 years of union service is just to leave it better than I found it. Dude, this is way cool. I'm totally digging it. It's nice because that history of who makes us who, and what the original founders wanted this to be, and what it's evolved into, and how big we've gotten, and all that. I'm not sure that they even saw it. You talk to Wes, I'm not sure he saw it going this long. I'm not sure that they thought it would keep going. And honestly, um, I grew up in Southern California, moved out here in '98, for the job. And I went to a car show, a Moon Ice car show, like 2005. And I saw a guy with a Cadillac King sticker in his back window. And I have since that long been trying to crack the shell of the Cadillac Kings. And I think, things always happen when they're supposed to at the right time, according to fate, right? It just so happened that I was screwing around the internet, and I'd been following all the chapters of the Kings, and I made one post at a great time, and I kind of found my niche in the club. My niche has always been informal leadership, so I found my niche. I got into the wheelhouse, and I got into the newsletter. I think my next big accomplishment would be being elected onto the committee would probably be my next step. I can't speak for all the chapters, but I feel like
I'm saying more for a club as a whole.
as a whole club,
Yeah.
I think we're definitely going in the right direction. We have quite a few ladies that are in the Cadillac Kings, and we have every race that we could represented in our big club. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I think they're like anything, we can do every stuff better, right? We can be better, we can do better, but and that'll take time. That'll take a lot of time, and through some attrition, through some growing, through the efforts that a lot of us have. I'm constantly in human resource training. I'm constantly trying to balance that stuff, and find just keeping all bias aside, trying to find good members for our fire department. And we do the same thing in our chapter, and I think we do the same thing for our club. I don't care if a female wants to come to the Denver chapter. I think it's great. Some of these females we have way more cars than I do, and can almost do more than I can on my Cadillac. So I do find it really interesting, and it's very, very cool. It's kind of invigorating too, at the same time, that they have the same interests that we do. And at the end of the day, every time we Alberta just welcomed Adam, a new member, into their chapter, and I sent him a text. I talked to him through text, and I commented on their main Alberta page that they got a new member. At the end of the day, our family just keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger. For me, I mean, everything pops into my head. You know, for me, this getting my chapter, being the president of my chapter, very honored to be able to have that. For me, it's everything. It's everything from what I wear to my koozies to the stickers in my back window. That's that the club and having my chapter means everything to me, and I'm not leaving the club. I'm not going anywhere. In this for the long haul, and hopefully I'll be here in 30 more years.
Later.
Take care.